Unicorn in the studio.
That is an actual unicorn. That's true. 100%. You can see one live and in person. Buy tickets for Worlds.
All right.
Unicorns of Love down, but not out. They have one more game to turn this series around and take us to a game 5. If you want to hear Silver Scrapes, you are thinking pink right now.
I love this. Unicorns, 3 bans leveraged at top lane. Either the Syndra or the Qiyana is going to be left open here from the side of Splyce. This is what we were expecting in game 1. You know, we ran the prep drafts. We thought Unicorns, there's no way they banned the Qiyana themselves. They can pick that up and now give the Zyrocon over. But they do have answers. The Heimerdinger, Morgana left open here if they want to knock that one into the Splyce bottom lane.
See what they want to do. How exactly want to deal with 2 very obnoxious picks to lane against.
The problem is, I think, so Xerxes might just go for his jungler here, and now you can't necessarily pick the Morgana, right? If you go for the heavy, you know, prio bottom lane to counter out Rakan, well, then they just pick the Karma. And if you don't go for it, then they just pick the Rakan, and they win either way. So Unicorns of Love is in a really tough position right here, and I think I agree with the analyst desk. Stop trying to win lane through bottom lane. I don't actually want to see the Morgana here. I'd much rather see something like the Nautilus Kai'Sa as a lock-in, and then play towards your top side, but that wouldn't be UOL style.
There's a Heimerdinger open, and that means UOL are going to pick a Heimerdinger. That would be spicy. I don't think that one's happening.
I don't think that one's happening, Dracos.
But what I do love is that we heard from the desk, you know, Vedius trying to get in Sheepy's head and saying, I'm going to crush you, Chachi. Well, he hasn't crushed him yet, but he did ban 3 of his champions. So options are quite limited for the side of VisiChachi, and I feel like he should probably pick a champion here. He might even get more bans levied against him. The Nico, of course, still on the table. And that Renekton only gets scarier as the options get more and more limited for VisiChachi himself.
The Nico's the one I'm watching. I think Rumble, too, is something that VisiChachi could try to take up into this Renekton. I actually don't even know what he goes for if both those champions get banned away right here. I mean, so far in play-ins, before the series today, it only played the Kennen, the Gnar, and the Gangplank, of course, added the Cho'Gath to that list earlier, but definitely a smaller pool that he's shown. And against the Renekton, it's weird because I think the Nico is something I'd like to see him on. He played that a couple times, I think, in the regular season, but not a pick I would necessarily associate with him. It is those power 3 that UOL took away from him to deny.
And now the Fiddle's been banned away, I imagine the Morgana will follow. No, interesting,
Ooh.
The Twisted Fate. So they're not as concerned with that Morgana pick from Edward.
Still really worried about the TF. Almost every game Splyce has played here, it's a second phase Twisted Fate ban. Now, if they're following common trends, they go ahead and run out of this rotation and pick themselves a counter into Renekton. It's going to be the Nico or the Rumble, I'm pretty positive, and then Humanoid can get his counter pick. Now, Akali has been banned away, and that was the thing he went blind for in game number 1, so unless he thinks he needs to deny the Corki from No Man's, I think he just waits to get that perfect matchup.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, you know what VisiChachi's playing into. No Man's not known as a Renekton player. That would be a massive throwback. I believe it was 2017 Spring MVP was VisiChachi on the back of incredible Shen performances for the Unicorns of Love themselves. Feels a little bit fitting that in what could be their final game at Worlds, he will play the Shen against them.
And now you've got the Shen Nocturne for dive, Shen Rakan for dive, whatever you want to do. Now, the strange thing is that they did leave the Morgana open, so the counter is definitely there, and they didn't decide to remove all of those options here from UOL. And now just looking at this draft, it feels like there's so many strong lanes to try and play around. I was not expecting this. This could be Qiyana in the mid lane now, or it could be Karthus in the mid lane. There's flex options now for the side of UOL to try and guarantee themselves a good matchup up against Humanoid, even though he does have counter pick.
This draft is all over the place. You could opt for the Lissandra here. Obviously very easy for her to get on top of a pick like Karthus or Qiyana, and it looks like they're okay with either of those matchups as they will lock it in, and it should go into the hands of Humanoid.
So we know why Splyce left open Heimerdinger and Morgana. It's because they are going to kill bottom lane at level 6. You don't survive against this. Lissandra is going to have a window to try and roam against whoever she lanes against. Xerxes on the Nocturne with the Shen on top. You have the ability to just break the game open through bottom lane. And some pretty passive solo laners to try and just get through the laning phase till you can make that point happen. We're still waiting on the final lock-in here from UOL. I think you might actually take the Karthus into Lissandra. Lissandra, too many good defensive tools to lane up against the Qiyana is my read on the situation, but they are going to put that back into mid lane at the last second.
See what Anonymous can do here in the early game. Just about farming up, fighting for that level 6, racing against the Nocturne, who will probably have a similar goal. Shen, of course, an interesting champion. Can be pretty strong in the early game, all about where those first few ults go, if he can make an impact on the map. or potentially find a lead in the laning phase. A nigh impossible task against the likes of Renekton, but if anyone can do it, it is Vizichachi, longtime Shen enthusiast. Sheepy checking his watch. Duke and Sheepy walking away. And this could very well be the final game. Splice versus Unicorns of Love. A matchup I never thought we would get to see on the international stage after the group draw, but sometimes the script is just a little too perfect, Ender.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. Getting ready to get onto the Rift right here. And both these teams with the tournament life on the line for Unicorns of Love. We need 2 wins in a row to stay alive, while Splice just need one more perfect early game, one more closeout to punch their ticket to the group stage.
And that man with a pineapple showing his praise to Ananasik. And this is it, match point. Splice with the game advantage. It is on UOL to take us to a game 5. And hopefully they can hear the Silver Scrapes plan already. Early game is going to be the biggest decider here, Ender, as it often is.
So this is a game where we're not going to see that crazy level 1 strategy from Splice, I don't think. Don't have the same early game presence of an Olaf or a Karma to try and divvy up the map right off the bat.
And of course, for Splice, their early game has been dominant in all 3 of our games, even in the one that Unicorns of Love managed to pull ahead of. You can see game 1, game 2, that is consistency, regardless of composition. 6.2K in game 3, that's terrifying. Not going to happen anymore, you already mentioned it. There's no Olaf this time, so probably not nearly as easy to snowball something like that.
Maybe some moves coming through from UOL here. This Boss, remember, game 1 started off with Splice setting up 5 members to try and punish Boss for sitting in that bush. Surprised, honestly, he went for it again in this game.
They're now moving into the enemy jungle.
This is what I was waiting for, though. Because Karth is so strong at level 1, now they have the ability to try and split the map, and this is going to buy the freest laning phase for Edward and Inax. Now, when we saw this duo run it up against Clutch, there were some misplays on their side. They had to lose their flash at level 1, so you have to be careful for that Rakan to jump onto you and then potentially lose a trade. But the ideal situation now for UOL is that they can absorb this first wave, freeze the lane on their side while Ananasik is on this bottom side of the map, and then Kabi and Orskaran don't really get to play the game. They sort of feel the pain that Inax and Edward were in last game in the same situation.
Once again, the map is divided. Top side for the likes of Xerxes, bottom side for Ananasik and the Unicorns of Love. And on the top, already you can see the Vizichachi is doing quite well in the respective lane matchup. Has yet to hit level 2, however, so less than ideal. Forced off the wave as Boss gets his a little bit ahead of schedule. So while level 1 looked good, now the Boss is level 2. Now that he has a bit of Fury to back up those abilities, it is going to be a bit harder for Chachi. A good bounce, though, means that Chachi should be able to hold it on his side of the lane for a little while. Downside, though, Boss now gets to move into his own jungle to keep an eye on this Nocturne.
Ooh, getting the collapse now on towards Xerxes. He might have to flash away from here. Nanasik is already level 3.
Stepping in. Spell Shield is there, forcing the flash out from Xerxes. Well played.
Finally flipping the script on this jungle matchup. This entire game, it has been Xerxes punishing, or this entire series, rather, it's been Xerxes punishing Ananasik. Now Ananasik so strong on the Karthus, can clear the jungle so fast, skipped his red buff entirely to make this invade happen. Now trying to steal away the Krug camp. Xerxes can't actually contest with this. It's just not possible.
And Vizichachi can go in to try to help, but Boss is there. And even if you kill the Karthus, his damage output remains.
Ananasik has finally out-jungled Xerxes at the start of the game. We've waited 3 games. Xerxes has always had the upper hand. Now he bought bottom lane, a free winning matchup. Top lane now too, gets to fully shove in. He denies multiple camps inside of Xerxes' jungle. This is absolutely perfect play on the Karthus.
And Boss continuing to hold pressure. No Man's doing fine in the mid lane matchup, but as we mentioned already, level 6 is the point where this game really will break open for one of these teams. It is either the Requiem for Karthus, or it is the Submarine with both the Shen and the Nocturne moving on to that bottom side. Edward and Inox have to be ready, because while the Black Shield is nice, it is not enough to stop a Lissandra, a Rakan, a Nocturne, and a Shen from diving in. That is the power of the Splice composition.
You always have to be concerned for that bot lane dive when level 6s do come through. I can't help but look at these compositions too and feel like Unicorns of Love is sort of all over the place in what they want, especially as we look later in the game towards team fighting. You know, they have a very strong soul laner in Renekton. Kiana will scale up into being quite the threat, but as far as team fighting goes, it's rather strange because their consistent DPS is all going to be magic damage, so Splice can definitely try to itemize against that and It's not the most reliable of outputs in a true 5 versus 5. When you are rocking mage compositions, you have to be much more mindful of your cooldowns. And while, you know, Ananasik doesn't have to be super concerned with that because he just smashes his Q button, Inax and Edward definitely do have to be much more aware. So teamfights are going to be about finding picks, finding burst trades with their ranged pick tools on the side of Unicorns of Love, as opposed to just running into that straight up front to back, which is what Splyce definitely want to go for.
And the theory crafting is there, and I'm curious to see if we even get to that stage. Because as much credit as you're giving them, you're talking about kind of how these team fights could play out. We just have yet to really see an early game from Unicorns of Love, up until this game, where they aren't falling incredibly far behind very early on. And we're in X pretty far forward here.
They need to burn the Black Shield from Edward, or he can't really do anything. Now, the wave isn't, you know, as stacked in UOL's favor, so they don't have that to work with. Seems like Splyce just want to set up this push to buy a reset for Kabe and Norskare and make sure they're the ones back to base first. And what this actually buys is effectively 2 times or 2 waves that you have push lead on. Unless their resets get canceled every single time, or unless they want to go for it at all. Kabe should go back to base, maybe look to teleport in himself.
And X and Edward starting to run out of mana, though. Don't know if they're actually going to be able to get a punish off here. Important to note, Kabe does have the TP. Last game he opted for the heal, a bit more combat efficiency, but this time we'll be able to make it back to the lane phase pretty quickly.
I think Unicorns missed a potential window. They're trying to full push this wave, but with the TP on the other side, Kabe is pretty free to clear that up. Now, I was looking at an Ananasik and thinking, if you freeze the wave on your side of the map down bottom lane, Ananasik can roll on in and deny Kabe. Because if he TP's in, I mean, his support can't join him. That's not a Yumi. So it would be a 1v3 situation, but because the lane gets shoved all the way into his tower, he's able to pick it all up and now freeze it on his side. And by keeping this cannon minion here, he'll be able to deny a lot of minions, because cannon minions do a whole bunch, and that's going to keep Frozen on their side. Now, Inax in the potentially rough situation with the potential flank from Norskare to make it on down here.
And the other thing I like about this is it does free Norskare up to roam to place down a little bit of vision, knowing that his AD carry is safe, freezing that wave under tower. But it's a similar position now for Edward. Has to be a little bit careful, though. Inax is, looks like in a vulnerable position, but they're not going to spot this one out, so they're not going to get it. Knocked back into the wall and instantly killed. Edward's going to grab that first blood. That was so clean.
That was super clever, too, because not only does the Black Shield stop it from Humanoid, you know, locking down No Man's and making sure they can't get out, it denies the Aftershock proc from Humanoid, too. He can't get that bonus resistance to try and stay alive as Boss takes a really big trade, but look at this. Both Ananasik and No Man's are on the way for the dive.
coming top wave. They don't have vision in that brush. Ananasik and No Man's are right there. Humanoid can't afford to step forward. Hits that stun. Must have been a visual bug on our end, but it now looks like Humanoid is trying to escape. Forced to use the ulti on himself. Good bit of damage comes down, but a lot of pressure now on the top side. Dark Harvest stack over to the like of Ananasik. Xerxes, though, already on the bottom side of the map, responding with a Drake. Will they go for the dive here?
It's going to be hard to. With Shen ultimate up and available. Humanoid does not have his own, though, but Ananasik on the card, they're so good at diving towers, can just go for poke trades.
Ulti coming out, trying to make sure that Vizicachi can't cancel it, yeah.
Ambitious use right there, but they will be able to pick up at least one plate for themselves. That's a taunt!
Forward Vizicachi, trying to buy a bit more time with Spirit's Refuge, but he can't sidestep enough. The Skittles! Gonna take him down, taste the rainbow on the top side of the map.
Straight up greed right there. Vizicachi thought he could make the play, has the flash, but does not use it. Now Unicorn's gonna be trading money on the top side for the late game insurance of that Mountain Drake. I think that's going to be a trade up for Unicorns, because honestly, this entire series, they've been playing from a deficit. If you come out of the early game even or with a lead as Unicorns, you all of a sudden have so much more confidence in your mid-game abilities to try and fight up against the side of Splyce.
Just huge stun there on Kabe. With the Lost Chapter now completed for the Heimerdinger, he can just indefinitely kind of spam out these towers, especially as levels start to come more towards him. Humanoid, though, in the mid lane has the blue buff. And now as we look in on the top side, you can see this was very back and forth play overall.
Yeah, so right now they're just chipping out underneath the tower. Humanoid doing a relatively decent job of dodging away from some abilities. Then with the potion ticking, I think that's a bit overambitious, as I mentioned, from Ananasik. And this is where we see Vizicachi. Usually taunt champions are super good at protecting against tower dives, but Boss, with the healing he gets, as well as the double dash, makes it so Vizicachi doesn't really stand a chance. And also, Karthus Q does double damage when it only hits one target. Vizicachi had no minions around him either, so it was a pretty easy pickup for Ananasik.
And the top lane matchup will only get harder as we get out of the early laning phase. Of course, Shen, a lot of kind of just strong base numbers on his kit, but the way that things have been going, you can see more and more gold going to the pocket of Ananasik. And whichever one of you in the audience brought a pineapple, this is the time to raise it high, because this man is set to carry the game.
He's doing it.
Bring the pineapple. And that's what we've been waiting for, Pineapple Man. We've been waiting to see Anonasik show up. We said junglers will be the difference makers, and this time it's Anonasik backed up by all of UOL to secure an early game. You know, almost a 20 CS lead for a Karthus, and once he starts to get magic penetration itemization, you are not going to want to go toe-to-toe with him.
Look at this move from UOL. They tracked Xerxes on the top side of the map with all those deep wards. See him spotting over that, so had brought an Anasik over to potentially try and deny some minions. And now, you know, we have level 6 on Xerxes, we have level 7 on Vizicachi. Humanoid 2 has his ultimate. I'm just waiting for that play. You know, Splice, they had the setup. We wanted to see them attack the bottom lane. That has yet to happen. And I can't help but feel like a lot of it is because they don't know where Anasik is. You know, the Karthus clears jungle much faster than any other pick in the game. And playing from back foot, haven't been able to do much.
Pulling back with the Karthus is right here in the midst of the fight. The Kiana throws them back. They're right in the Karthus. That's not where you want to be. They might get the Kiana, but they won't get anything. Humanoid now has to run for the hills. Shen comes over the wall, tries to buy a bit more time, and Anasik throws down the Skittle, trying to finish off. Humanoid won't quite do it. Rakan here to try and save the day, but the ultimate is off cooldown. Presence of mind, resetting it right. The Guardian most, but Norscairn is there. A Guardian indeed. The mastery will stop that from turning any further against the likes of Splice.
Unreal right there. Splice do make it work somewhat in the end, but this is what I was talking about. They are not tracking Anasik to the same level they've been able to all series long. Anasik definitely showing up where he needs to be, when he needs to be. Kabe still has access to ultimate, so he's going to be all right.
Of course, the Heimerdinger, rather, not Hecarim. Ulti was used there in that exchange. And now Humanoid getting bullied out here in the mid lane. Opted to go for the revolver instead of, very often we see the early lost chapter into the Proto Belt, but he seems to be doing fine on mana thus far. Proto Belt will help him out in the individual 1v1, as well as any coming team fights. Binding. Good from Vizicachi holding on there, but Boss just continue to press an advantage here, and we have a huge lead for the side of Unicorns of Love, Ender.
Right, it's a really interesting game now. You know, UOL have this big lead, but when you look at these two comps, they both play on such long cooldown windows before they can make plays. You know, Anasik, his ultimate, No Man's, huge playmaking tool there as well, and Splice, we know the level 6s are so key too. But I think when you compare the base kits of these champions, you know, just the 3 spells, not including the ultimate, you have to almost always favor, you know, the Renekton, the Karthus in the jungle as well, even the Heimerdinger just to get push off down bottom lane. So when we are in these windows where, you know, both teams don't have the tools necessarily to fight, I almost always give the upper hand to the Unicorns.
Max flashing out, Norscairn now in trouble. Giving a lot of respect over there to the opposition as Boss breaks that tower. Rest of the team now taking up home in the mid lane, but Humanoid pretty comfortable to clear out these waves. Protobelt's forward to try to get it done. And now dashes away, but in the meantime, the Rift Herald has already dropped, and that means a few more free plates for the likes of No Man's. See if they want to share the gold or just give it over to him. It looks like Anonasik wants in on the action. Humanoid has to back off here. Big damage! Had the ulti up and available, does not get the chance to use it.
Unicorns might be able to look for more. Check this out. Boss has moved down from the top lane in towards mid. They can completely deny Splice away from this tower. There's a Drake spawning up too, but if they're able to kill the tower before the Rift Herald does die, maybe they can take that charge. Wasn't able to tell if that did go down.
TP now
did
from the bottom side. Kabe moving in. The Heimerdinger running for his life. Kabe desperately wants this kill here. Xerxes now backing off. Double daggers come through. Inax, no mana. Kabe going to finish that one out and walk away cleanly. Good punish from Splice.
Definitely need to see that move come from them after Unicorns took that mid lane tower. Now Unicorns, they have that major objective knocked away, and Anasik getting feisty.
Skittles get harder to hit as enemy team gets boots.
Looks impossible.
It's Dance Dance Revolution.
No Man's has ultimate. Does he want to go?
I don't think he wants. This is super questionable.
He's feeling it.
He's going to back off.
Walking in 1v3. Oh, no.
Now gets locked up. Hello? No Man's?
Oh!
That's huge! But still a 1-for-1. Shut down onto the Kiana. I'm going to say not worth. Bold play.
I think he was trying to see if an Anasik could get an ultimate in there too. Maybe if some spells go the right way, they can turn that into a 1-for-2. But I agree, over-ambitious for sure coming through from No Man's, just trying to style on these kids.
Kiana does only get scarier too. The bad news is, whoever you give gold to on the enemy team also, gonna get a lot stronger, a lot faster. Shutdown's key for Splice to come back into this game. All right, so thought process here.
So actually, watch Norscairn, because I think he hides behind the wall. No Man's can't see him charge the ultimate. Yeah, there you go. Then gets the flash into W knockup. Still the immediate one-shot onto Xerxes. And yeah, he actually throws 2 Qs at Xerxes that don't do anything. I think if he hits Norscarin, either A, he one-shots him, because he was doing an obscene amount of damage, or B, it gets him in Threshold so that Ananase can drop the Requiem on him.
Still, potentially an unnecessary risk. But
For sure.
As we mentioned before, UOL still with a handsome enough lead that they can feel pretty comfortable. 1.5 items coming through for Kabe.
Where have I seen this before?
Picks up a second BF sword. This is how Splice was doing.
Yeah, that's what Spice was doing, Dracos. Taking unnecessary risks. Still won, though.
Yeah, it did. And the thing is it's only going to get scarier, too, because now you're looking down. Luden's Echo for the Heimer. You're very close to a Duskblade. Karthus has hit double magic penetration items. Level 11 is the next thing you need to look for. Double magic penetration plus level 11 Karthus at this point in the game is incredibly oppressive. Requiem does so much damage, and the cute little Merc Treads for Vizichachi is really the only form of magic resistance on the team outside of Norscarin's matching pair. So,
And Anasik hurts, okay?
Yeah, that's the bottom line.
It's really, really painful. Here's 4 members try to collapse on towards bottom lane. They still have TP2.
Wall of Pain. Humanoid now needs to retreat. A Proto Belt to dodge the Skittle. He's walking further under. Good spell shield comes out. Locked up by the Water Blade, though. Humanoid trying to buy a bit more time. Meanwhile, Boss is going in on the top side. Inax going to grab Humanoid. Boss going to get spotted out here, though. They're going to look to collapse on the Renekton. He will be able to walk away. Picture-in-picture action as Unicorns of Love set their sights on that Ocean Drake.
Unicorns getting everything they need right there, punishing Humanoid down on that bottom side of the map. And Boss just buying more and more time here. Speaking of unnecessary risk, he's going in, but he knows there's no one else really here.
He's a level 11 Renekton with the Spear of Shojin. No one's trying to take that fight right now. Edward, though, continuing to clear out vision. Unicorns of Love choking out on the bottom side, making sure that Splice cannot farm comfortably. Edward still has to be careful, though. Inax still has to be careful, though. Heimerdinger going to do a lot, but there's no ultimate available. Makes him much easier to leap on top of.
So one fun little thing going on with the Unicorn's composition right here is Karthus' Wall of Pain does shred magic resistance of his target. So whenever he drops that Wall of Pain, it A, sets up for a skill shot like the Empowered W from Inax's Heimerdinger, which is that giant laser cannon that goes flying at your face. It slows him down to make that hit pretty quickly, and it also makes him take a lot more damage from it. So look for some one-shots later on, assuming Inax can get some more gold under his belt.
Does he get the Heimerdinger dream of empowering the Rockets on the W and sending them through 5 people in a team fight? That's what we're going to have to find out.
I'm waiting. And if you can't finish him off, then you have the Requiem on top of that.
My question for you, Ender, is do we get the exact opposite of Game 1?
Oh, no.
Where UOL are super far ahead, look like they're on the verge of closing, and then Splice turn it around. Because Splice do have a lot of good team fighting tools. Shen, probably not the best scaling pick, but we've seen what Kabe can get done with enough CC to support him, and he certainly has enough CC to support him.
Yeah, so I honestly could see it happening, because I think, realistically, I like a lot of Splice's odds in later game fights. The problem I think they're going to run into is them potentially lacking damage. You know, once a lot of people start to build more defensive on the side of Unicorns of Love, Xerxes going to be a lot less effective.
Grassblade goes in, waiting, going to dash out to safety. A second Grassblade, waiting out Xerxes' ultimate. Is going to ult right back onto Norscarin. A little bit.
Good playing with his food. Nightmares. Nightmares right there.
That does not seem fair. All right, well, he has a support. All that MR he's buying doesn't really help him against the Kiana. The Glacier Shroud, a little cute there, but without any more than making up the difference.
I do think team fights will get interesting, though, because Unicorns have a lot of anti-dive tools. Not going to have too much time to think about that, though, because 18 minutes on the clock. Unicorns still playing on offense, pushing just about everywhere. One person is on another side of the map, buying time.
Dashes over the wall. Ult's there. He's going to try to dash.
Oh, no.
Kiana is so powerful. Kabe gets locked up. He grabs him.
Can he turn?
He can kill. He can kill. He can kill. He can kill. He's going to try to finish it. No, the shutdown is there.
Look at bot lane, though. They keep on going with the push. The minions underneath the tower. Chachi just trying to hold on. He has a Tiamat, but he can't step forward and actually out of the wave.
Chachi's going in. There's so much magic damage. Uses the stopwatch to try to buy time, but Ananasik is now stepping forward. The ulti's already been used by the Karthus. They now need to retreat. TP for Humanoid is up and available. TP for Kabe a few seconds away, but they're not going to go in for anything more. 6k gold lead to UOL at the end of that play.
It's really important that Splice keep funneling all these kills on towards Kabe. Yes, he burnt his ultimate and the flash, just try and chase down and get that kill, but that's an important shutdown for him, and staying even at least in terms of levels at the moment, trying to hold on in terms of gold. No Man's trying to go for this play. I actually think he surprised himself with the amount of damage he did. He was walking away, he's like, wait a second, that's just one more auto attack. And Kabe says, I need to get in here.
Oh, yeah, okay. So it looks like he doesn't have the cooldown to grab the Mountain Blade, or he most certainly would have killed him. The terrain blade, I don't know. Yeah, that was my face. That's how I felt too.
Same.
Any of those faces, they're all fine.
Get that man a pineapple. He's already got one. He's playing jungle for him.
Pineapples. Oh no! Oh my god! That was a supreme display of balance. There's not much more to say about that one. No Man's now has to run for the hills. Grassblade will give him stealth. They have no way to auto attack him. The Fear is going to take him just outside. Edward too little too late. Good that they're able to grab a kill back, but here comes the Heimerdinger, the flash, the ult. Here comes the big tower, and there's nowhere for Xerxes to go. It does stop the tower from auto-attacking, though, when you TP to it, so...
Do they just go Baron here? 10 seconds away, and Anasik...
Humanoid has a Shen TPing in, but they need to get away. He's just going to flash over the wall. The dash comes in. He's going to walk away as he clears the wave.
Okay, I don't think he has enough mana to go for the Baron here.
He has blue buff.
It's true.
The Heimer, they don't have the vision cleared out. 14 seconds left on Xerxes.
This ward is going to reveal them, though, and that's gonna be trouble for them with a lot of TPs
they
on the side
know.
of Splice. Oh, they know.
Humanoid, Kabe, TPs. Vizichachi here. Wall of Pain comes out. Vizichachi potentially in trouble. Will dash to safety, but Norskarin is here as well with the double buff he got earlier. Don't think this is the point where they try to turn. Boss gonna step forward on a Norskarin though. Black Shield gonna make sure that he can move his way into this one. Can't get a second dash out. Instead, he's focusing on Vizichachi for now.
Smart move from Bros there, of course. Shen can just drop the W on himself and block all auto attacks, which means no stun can come through from Renekton. And still Unicorns using this pressure to move in towards an Ocean Drake. There's not a lot that Splice can do against this, so I like their maneuver now. Splitting sides of the map, they can try to get some vision control of their own around this area, because with a Karthus and a Heimerdinger, that Baron goes down fast. And with a Kiana and a Morgana, this Lissandra is going to go down fast too.
Locked down, gonna try to walk away. Oh.
Just kidding, just kidding. I didn't mean it. I meant it.
You didn't mean it. He's going in. You didn't mean it. Humanoid lives. Vizichachi body. Oh, no.
He doesn't have ult.
Oh, Guardian. Norskarin.
Absolutely clutch.
5 Lissandra. Norskarin. Whatever else happens this game is a hero.
That was a roller coaster, Dracos.
Yeah, saving Private Ryan, way worse than saving Humanoid mid. That's all I'm going to say. This is way crazier. Oh, God.
Oh, man.
I mean, whatever else happens, we can all be happy that we're going out on a banger. This is a crazy game.
Yeah, kind of a crazy series when you think about it. Unicorns able to pull that game 1 from the clutches of defeat, now sitting pretty in game number 4 with a 6K gold lead. Rabadon's now finished on a Nanasik. If you thought this guy was strong before, he now has, I want to say 500 AP.
And look, if you're on the side of Unicorns of Love, the triple ban Chachi strategy is looking really good for you, because it opens up so many champions, and Splice can't take them all. Splice isn't taking your Heimerdinger. They might take your Kiana jungle. They're not taking your Renekton.
Yeah, it's so hard too with Splice's dive comp to actually kill the backline because of all the peel tools of the Black Shield. Even if you kill, the Karthus, he's still going to be pumping out damage. Inax 2 can just drop the big tower, so what Splice's comp wants to do is kind of difficult to pull off against a strong Unicorns of Love composition here.
Trying to check the pit, trying desperately to move in. One blue trinket up and available for Kabe. Gotta feel like he uses it now. 6K getting lower. Xerxes could have his hero moment right here.
Always watch the flank from No Man's. Flanking on Kiana is so pivotal.
They just go back to the Baron, though. They just go back to the Baron in the meantime. That's the claw burned. They can just walk right into the pit. The TV's coming in, but it's going to be too little too late. He tries to make his way in. Is it going to be enough?
He got it!
Xerxes gets it. The taunt is there for follow-up, and they might lose the following fight. The Kiana cannot find a way in. That is a heroic moment coming in from the likes of Xerxes. Can they stop the fight, though? No Man's already burning the ultimate, has been locked up. Needs the grass blade to make it out. Will go invisible. Inax now stepping forward. Kabe brings the feathers back, and he locks him up, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Vizichachi down in the midst of the team. Humanoid running for his life. Splice may have got the Baron, but they will lose the following fight. Humanoid taken out, and Unicorns of Love move up to 6K difference.
A brilliant effort, though, from Xerxes to fly into the pit with Paranoia and seal that one away. Can Unicorns get anything? I mean, Splice have just bought themselves so much time now with the Baron to deny the siege from Unicorns of Love. Stalling out in the mid game. This, honestly, if you told me it was Splice, blue side, Unicorns, red side, I would believe you, Dracos, because this actually feels like a picture-perfect reversal from the rest of the series.
You'd believe that there was a Renekton top and a Heimerdinger bot?
just kidding.
Okay, there you go. You took the champions out, you just put the gold in the game state, and it looked really, really convincing. And this moment right here is fantastic from Xerxes, because they take this Baron after he gets ults in like that, they just lose everything.
Yeah, and even though Unicorns peel off the Baron, they still have the Heimerdinger towers to keep it in range. Brilliant job going in there. Early smite from a Nanasik as well. A misplay from him, but a better reaction from Xerxes. Then Unicorns are able to chase down for a couple of extra kills, but that is as we expect in a game like this where they do have such a lead. Important that, he gets the stun off onto Kabe, so Kabe can't kite back with his auto attacks, and then he can dive under the tower for a little bit extra. Unicorn still in control of this game, but definitely going to be slowed down for quite some time.
Yeah, Double Ocean definitely not ideal either. They have 1 minute and 41 seconds and counting left on the Baron power play. They're currently at plus 38 gold. It's going to take a lot. So
Still better than Game 3.
Now 100. Now, okay, all right. I'm not going to talk about the Baron power play anymore. But clearly not a great Baron power play on the side of Splice. Sorry.
Actually, look at the items from Kabe. We were talking about the shutdowns he got earlier in the game. He has now 3 items. This guy is strong.
Well, and you kind of saw it in the pinch there. If that was a situation where he's approached from multiple sides, definitely would have looked different. But when he gets to pull the feathers through multiple members of the enemy team, Xayah does so much damage.
Yeah, I actually think this is a game where he'd be well off to invest in a QSS, even with his ultimate, just because you have the threat of Morgana binding, which you can react to, but it's really hard to react to that Renekton stun. And with so many CC tools coming your way, if you have the QSS, you can hold onto your ultimate for more opportune time. Would like to see him go down that line. Might not have the chance here.
And interesting, was double checking, making sure he did not start the game with the stopwatch, and it looks like he didn't. So could look to buy that as well. Help out against the Karthus and the Kiana. The fights to come, mitigating some of those big burst spells. Vizicachi is barely tanky enough to step forward, but it does mean that the push will be slowed for now.
And especially on these sieges, watch out for the magic resist shred on the Wall of Pain, because you can drop that and it's the size of the entire lane, and then the poke comes through and it becomes very, very difficult to deal with. Now I really like the move from UOL to walk so far forward and poke Xerxes as he's trying to walk towards this mid lane. It basically secures them, this inner tower. Splice going to be regulated to their own base for the time being. And this is just what you sort of have to do. You know, hold on to those inners as long as possible, but ultimately recall and defend those inhibitors, because you can just stall out for the next Baron. Maybe you have a better chance at a fight with this Xayah that is going to be very, very powerful, finishing off, you know, her 4th item as that Baron comes a little bit closer into spawning. And we're gonna have some options.
Yeah, and of course, there's always the threat of the Vizicachi-Xerxes duo collapsing on a side lane. It is a bit difficult, given the kind of overall lack of damage, given how far behind that they are, but it is something that can work for the team. Humanoid may look very far behind, and he is relative to his lane opposition, but has pretty good tools to kick fights off. So it's all eyes on Kabe to be the damage source. The team around him, enough resources to support him, but probably not enough to be carries themselves.
The gold differences across the board are really interesting, because, you know, you expect Unicorn smashing in a whole lot of positions. Jungle especially, just a monstrous lead, almost 5,000. For Nanasik, mid lane too, of course, very much in favor of Unicorns. But as we said previously, Kabe doing very well to keep up himself. He actually has more gold than anyone else in this game. He has more than a Nanasik or No Man's. That's the benefit of the shutdowns. That's the benefit of Splice donating him so many resources in this mid-game period. He's just trying to scoop up about everything he can, and that's why his CS looks so bloated compared to the rest of the game.
And outside of another Miracle Nocturne steal, though, I'm very concerned as to how Kabe actually fights around a Baron.
Right.
Because there's so much room to control space. You talk about the Wall of Pain. He can't walk through that. If he gets slowed down like that, he's going to be forced to ult immediately. You can't stand near a wall or No Man's just ults you. You can't stand near a Renekton or he kills you. and the Heimerdinger can just set up a big tower, and then there's really no way for the Xayah to walk in. She's not tanky enough.
It's really strange, because Kabe has a lot of tools to deal with the Kiana and the Renekton melee champions with his ultimate, the CC from his feathers as well. He has great kite back tools, but he's going to get outranged by the Karthus and the Heimerdinger every single time. So the start of these fights might actually look good for Splice, I think, if he's able to stay alive and use his spells correctly. But I'm always going to be hesitant to say that even after the fight looks good right off the bat, that Splice would be able to potentially close out on a fight, because they can't actually cut the distance onto those priority ranged members.
Just what a world we live in. We got Sheepy going toe-to-toe with 2 former teammates. We got Norse going face-to-face with that brush. Very risky proposition. Xerxes and Vizicachi, I mean, it's an interesting spot to be. I think one of the first times in history where you've had to go through your former coach on your new team at Worlds. to win the championship or to get into group.
Here we go.
Now here's a big pick on a Humanoid, just instantly taken down. The Karthus is still alive. They're gonna try to get one kill back. Karthus ulti now coming out, trying to zone the rest of the team away. Huge damage coming in. No Man's now on the hunt. He has the black shield. Kabe immediately gonna be forced to ult. The feathers come back, maybe not enough. Pulling through as Vizichachi's forced to ult in as well. This should allow UOL to walk straight towards the pit.
Oh, I thought Kabe had more room right there to fight back with the Shen ult, dropping a lot of autos to kite on back. Now this means Unicorns of Love, they got that pick with No Man's 5v4 around the pit. They can kite this permanently.
Chachi just used all his major cooldowns, dashed in. Brief window of opportunity to punish here. Vizichachi still stepping forward, but Ananasik and Inox can just force this one down. Xerxes coming in, he has no ult, but he does have the flash and he does have the smite. No Man's, they need to step forward. They need to stop Xerxes from getting to the pit. Why? They don't need to take this 50-50. He's going to dash over the wall. He's going to try to make sure that it's not a 50-50. Instead, they're focusing on it. No Man's goes to the backside. He's trying to
Can he get it?
Can he get one more?
He got it!
I can't believe it! Splice! When it matters most, every single time it is Xerxes. But Unicorns of Love will continue to monster the fights. No Man's is still alive. But that's it. Once again,
they're TPing bot lane. They can get the inhibitor. Even though they lost the Baron, they can siege.
Stepping forward, Humanoid can try to walk into this one, but I don't think it's a winning proposition. Edward now on the way as well. No Man's pushing up. I can't believe two
and they push to the end. They have so many minions. Dracos, they can keep on going in the face. The wave there just is not there.
Supreme Display of Talent is almost off cooldown. The Kiana can look to ult. He gets locked up mid-ult. That's not what they needed whatsoever. Humanoid goes into the backside. He's trying to buy time. Aftershock makes him a little bit tankier, but Northscaron cannot tap in. He just continues every form of Zhonya's he has. He flashes out to safety. He locks them up. Maybe they can hold it here. Humanoid is still alive. No Man's is overstayed his welcome. No Man's goes down. They don't get the shutdown. Splice once again making the impossible possible. A second Baron steal and a hold in the base.
Xerxes just respawned. He has the paranoid, but not the vision to chase down for more. What a crucial hold from Splice. They were the ones that picked up the Baron at the cost of their inhibitor. Still, game in favor of the Unicorns of Love, but you can start to see the cracks.
Let me take a look back at this play.
And I think it's an early smite again. We have to watch how this occurs because Boss flashes over, instant reaction with the spell shield. Beautiful play from Xerxes. Then watch him flash in the pit. It is an early smite once again from Ananasik. There's the blue, there's the red. Xerxes steals Baron Nashor.
It's split communication. You can see it there. Boss goes over, and Ananasik thinks the call was kill the jungler before we even try the smite. If he had just tried to burst down the Baron in the window where Nocturne was locked out of the pit, maybe they could have got it. But when this is such a high-pressure moment. If they secure that Baron, they know the game is essentially theirs.
And now there's an Infernal Drake spawning. I think Splice feel like they can go for this team fight. Kabe level 16 now. 4 items, 100% crit chance.
No flash.
If ever there was a moment, this has to be it.
Vizichachi's going on a walkabout. Why is he here? Vizichachi flashing out to safety. The Kiana's going to run him down. Doesn't even need to use any summoners of her own.
How much time can he buy, though? Because right now, Splice are pushing it. They do have Baron buff. Remember, he falls down, so at most it's 1 tower here. Ultimate blown by Inax. They're trying to go in.
Big ult comes in from the Karthus.
Ooh.
Lots of damage. Kabe forced to ult out. Splice are going to be able to retreat. There's a massive wave stacking on the bottom side. There are no TPs left for the Unicorns of Love.
Unicorns want to push down mid lane. With the numbers advantage, they say, forget the Infernal Drake. Maybe you can make something happen here. Or just reset and push for that. They're splitting up on the map at the moment. And they know there's not a whole lot of wave clear for Splice. It really is Kabe who has to step up to the wave to hit those minions. They can just walk straight down this middle lane with the numbers advantage and take this tower.
Kiana ults up and available as well. Difficult to use in the enemy base to be certain, but it means they can't stand next to that inhibitor. The Wall of Pain, once again, making so much space. Kabe cannot step forward when the Unicorns of Love have set up this line of scrimmage.
It's probably the strongest thing about this composition for Unicorns, the zone control and the zoning they can use, not just with, you know, the towers from Heimerdinger, but the wall from Karthus. No Man's just existing near the backline.
Here comes No Man's.
They can't come close.
Existing again.
Existing with 26k damage this entire game.
I don't think Kiana gets through again, Ender.
He's done more damage than Xerxes, Humanoid, and Kabe combined.
I don't think Kiana gets through again, Ender.
You can't let Kiana through. And this takes me back to game 1 when Unicorns banned it on blue side. I thought they were crazy. They realized the error in their ways, and it is looking ridiculous.
And I think it's, I mean, there are changes that Splice can make, right? They waited till second phase to try to pick their mid laner. They could have opted to pick the Akali earlier on. They could have opted to pick something more comfortable for Humanoid. He was forced on this Lissandra with 2 bans targeted at the mid lane.
It also just felt like they got outplayed in the early game. In a series dominated by early jungle pathing, Ananasik had the advantage.
This is what they're waiting for. He flashes over the wall. Can't try to buy a bit of time. Lays down the big turret. Edward now coming in. Now he goes golden again. That's going to be the double. He wants to make his way out to safety. Are they actually going to be able to kill him? Anonasek is dealing so much damage in the pits. The shutdown onto the Heimer will go through. Double Zanya is not enough. The stopwatch as well as the hourglass itself.
Splyce not going to be able to get anything off the back of that. Just go back and start clearing away the super minions. The longer they hold on, though, the super minions are just guaranteed gold income as they smash through the minion waves on the side of Splyce. It means unicorns continually get denied, and Splyce continue to have more and more opportunities to pick up gold and experience. Kabe farming his jungle consistently. Now he finally has that Quicksilver Sash. Team fighting has gotten easier. Still not...
You have to credit Splyce for adaptation in the late game. They're no longer looking for the big fights. They're looking for these little picks to keep themselves in longer and longer to give Kabe more and more time to scale up. And this could have gone terribly if anyone else was here.
Right, but they saw No Man's in the top lane, clearing away the minion wave, the strongest member, it seems, on the side of the Unicorns. And, of course, the Zonias plus the stopwatch that he didn't use earlier, double interaction, going to be burnt. And that's a really powerful tool when you consider that all Splyce want to be doing in these fights is diving your backline. That's an extra 2.5 seconds he will not be able to stall them for in the next 5v5.
Checking in on the summoner spells as well. Vizichachi, of course, with no ult available, has his TP. Kabe has his. Flashes for Norskeren. Kabe, now we're going to see the fight break out. No Man just gets right back out the car. This all coming in is going to do a lot of damage. Multiple members locked up. Humanoid chunked on the side. I don't think anyone's making it out of this one. Xerxes manages to get taken down. Only a single kill onto the side of Splyce. Unicorns of Love were looking for more there, but they will not find it. Splyce barely making it out.
Yeah, you can see in that corridor, Unicorns chose to fight in. Really good position from them because Kabe actually can't fight back. He is zoned because his front line goes down quickly and won't be able to fight. Now, Xerxes down for 30 seconds. No chance of a steal. You'd have to imagine here. Third time must be the charm for the Unicorns of Love. Splyce could look for a team fight, but without the Featherstorm, it's got to be an uphill battle.
The Baron is going to fall. 36 minutes into the game, a 5K lead held onto by Unicorns of Love. 4 Drakes in their favor. Humanoid now in trouble. They're not going to overcommit for the play, however. Will back off. They secured the Baron. They've gotten everything they wanted. The pick more than enough to help them take that one, and now it's the base in the sights of Unicorns of Love.
Splyce are going to have to pull the trigger. The siege from the Unicorns is deadly with Baron. The wave clear will not be there from Splyce, and the poke certainly will be from Unicorns, setting up now to push up towards the top side of the map. That bot lane inhibitor has respawned, but mid lane still going to be in favor of the Unicorns of Love. Featherstorm still down from Kabe. That means team fighting almost impossible for this squad. If Unicorns can find the fight now, can find the siege when Splyce can't fight back, that'll be their opening.
Small window. Vizichachi going to take a ton of poke damage. Guardian there to mitigate at least some of that. The Skittles from Anonasek zoning the rest of the team off the tower. A Humanoid still ready on the flank. Will not take the claw in.
Just drop the wall and step up to hit the tower. That has to be the play here. But Inax not feeling confident enough to drop any auto-sim stealth, waiting for the poke. Gonna be another 20 more seconds before that next wave reaches this top lane. Spells are back up for Splyce. This may be where they decide to draw the line here. Flashes across the board. It will be Norskeren to lead the charge in if they can find a flank.
They need to find a window now. He's going away. All the engaged tools are being burned onto No Man's. No Man's will get taken down. He gets a decent ult off, but that's the shutdown going through. Unicorns of Love instead now locking up Vizichachi, setting their sights on that top lane inhibitor. Anonasek has the ult up and available. The flash taunt, it's perfect from Vizichachi, but Anonasek is still alive for now. The whole team stepping forward. Anonasek trying to catch himself in the middle of the fight. Double Zanyas, his Humanoid may find himself in trouble. That's the Karthus ult. Who's going to drop down to say he doesn't have enough. So many members dropping in the face of the Requiem. And the Requiem for Unicorns of Love might just sound like Silver Scrapes. Kabe closes this one out. Big stun. The binding goes in. Norskeren. He blocks once again. Who can't Norskeren save in these clutch moments?
This is where it gets so hard for Kabe. He wants to fight. He is stronger than Inax, but he simply does not have the range with errant skill shots being thrown his way constantly. It is a 3-for-3 at the end of the day. But the inhibitors are all still alive from Splyce. We see this fight one more time. It's after they got the initial pick. Brilliant engage from Vizichachi to make Anonasek have absolutely nowhere to go. And then keep your eyes on Kabe. He has to kite back in the situation, but now he's zoned. He has no one in front of him, so he can't step into this fight. If he does have that front line, it becomes a very different situation. As just stepping forward, he has to play around the cooldowns. Once the W goes down from Inax, that's when he can be much more aggressive. Crucial block there from Norskeren to deny the Black Shield on towards Splyce's AD carry. But ultimately, just a dead even team fight.
A dead even team fight when they started the team fight by instantly killing the Kiana. That's a terrifying prospect. Vizichachi Feeling very confident to step forward like that. It looks like the Elder Dragon, in the eyes of the Unicorns of Love, their lead isn't nearly as relevant as it once was. We're 40 minutes into the game just about. Kabi has every item he's going to get.
A Nanosic full build, No Man's full build as well. Everyone is stocked up and ready to fight. The Infernal Drake's certainly going to be huge.
Chachi potentially in trouble. They can't afford to burn too many cooldowns on the Shen before the fight kicks off, but they can slowly but surely chip him down. The ulti coming through. It's going to lock up North Garen as well. No Man's going to grab that one. Splice going to have to back off.
UOL continue to pick off Vizicachi before these crucial fights. It's so important for them. Now as there's effectively no fight left to be had for Splice. 50-second death timers as well. A 4-stacked elemental Elder Dragon now for the Unicorns. And they don't need Baron buff because all 3 inhibitors are exposed. They can just run straight into that base and sweep across and take all 3.
Splice, the fact that they've survived this long already feels like a miracle. 2 Baron steals, a fantastic base hold. North Garen with some clutch blocks left and right. But I don't think it's going to be enough against this final push, Ender. This could be it. This should be the moment where Splice lose this game. 1 inhibitor to fall, a second going to match it, a third sure to follow. 14 seconds on Vizicachi. Youmuu's used, the Audacity used just to get closer to the inhibitor. Anonisic, a constant threat. They cannot dive in. The Heimer and the Karthus will punish. That's 3 inhibitors down. Baron in 1 minute and 44 seconds. If UOL really want to take the slow route, they really want to close out cleanly, they can wait for that objective.
Do they want to force a fight? Vizicachi has spawned with Stand United. Maybe they thought if we can fight before they reset, before they can finish off a couple more items, we can make something happen, but that's not going to be the case. Elder Dragon is going to bridge the gap for Unicorns all the way up until our 4th Baron of the game spawns, Dracos.
40 minutes. The Splice time meme is dying with this series for the record.
It's Unicorns time.
And look, there's a Titanic Hydra for Shen. You've got a very fed Xayah. Lissandra is pretty solid at clearing waves at this point. A lot of items. So you maybe can hold out for a while against double super minion spawns. And you're going to get a lot of money for doing so. But as mentioned, the money is going to mean less and less at this point. The Karthus scaling continues, however, to be an absolute nightmare to deal with. Dark Harvest, of course, only going to make that even worse.
I wonder how Splice attacked this fight. I feel like you try to go front to back, deal with Boss and No Man's first.
Humanoid going in. Looks like they tried to kite on No Man, but it's a massive ult. He manages to hit 2 members. The rest of the team now on the retreat. No Man's still alive. And that's it. That should be it.
Look at the burn!
Oh, health bars.
Oh,
gone. Trying to snipe him. Redemption.
He's gonna burn! Edward!
Baby burn. And just like that, it's the Requiem. It's the Redemption. It's everything you could want as a Unicorns of Love fan, because here, in the moment where it matters most, they have turned the game. They will look to break the base. 1 tower left standing in front of them. Slowly but surely moving in. Kabi, there's just too many members in front of him. He does not have the damage. He does not have what it takes. So when push comes to shove, Unicorns of Love take us to game 5. Get ready, because it's time for Silver Scrapes.
Unicorns came out strong in this one. Draco's fiery early game start from a Nanosic, dominating inside of that jungle matchup. And then No Man's, my God, on that Kiana was that nasty.
That was an incredible game of League of Legends. Unicorns of Love, we were